Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It is chill-ish outside. I took some garbage out this morning, and dressed like this, I was fine. You know, a little bit cold-ish, but, you know, not unpleasant, so, yay, mid-January. And it's dim-ish. It's going to be a day, probably not too cold, not too wet. Yay, thumbs up for that. I woke up middle of the night, intense gut pain, had to take care of issues, and then back to bed. So I got maybe 4 hours sleep. Oh, I'm so tired. Thumbs up for that. And front loading your videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of these Patreon patrons, of whom I realize I need to update the list. But oh, executive dysfunction is so much fun. But these literally beautiful and awesome people help to keep me and my aging pet metabolizing. If you would like to help keep my I can speak English, I promise. If you would like to help keep me and my aging pet metabolizing, there are links in the video description to the Patreon, to a PayPal for possible donations, of which I am in very kind of dire straits. I'm not going to have enough money to feed myself and my pet through the whole month. If you could help, that would be awesome. I hate asking, but I'm not going to be able to make it through the whole month. So joy. And of course, there's a post office box where if you send me anything at all, I will open it up on camera, and yay, thumbs up for that. So, joy! I am surviving, my pet is surviving, and that's a good thing. Definitely a thumbs up. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday, had some sleeping issues, then played video games and such like that. One thing I want to stress, and one thing I also want to show in video. Yes, when I am playing these solo RPGs for the channel, I'm breaking out the table and my dice tower and pencil and paper and the books. You don't have to do that. In fact, I want to make a video playing the game NoteQuest where it's all online. You don't have to. In fact, if you just play the basic NoteQuest without the expanded world, which is only $2 US. If you want to play the free version of NoteQuest, which just takes out the overworld stuff, you can have the free PDF open up online on your desktop. There's a lot of stuff. I imagine you could do it this way on your phone too, because you still have to, even on desktop, keep this in separate tabs, so you could probably flip between different applications to do this. You got your PDF with the 2-page spread of the dungeon. You don't need the rest of the book open. That 2-page spread will do it. Then there are a ton of free online map drawers. Whether you want to draw an overland map or just draw out a dungeon, you can draw your dungeon as the NoteQuest tells you what the rooms are and the corridors. So you just draw them using the online thing open in a tab. And of course, your character sheet could just be in a notepad or WordPad, or, you know, if you use online Google Docs or LibreOffice or any of those things, you can even put your character sheet into one of those free online spreadsheets so that it can do the calculating if you do it all out. And with the online free dice rollers, you don't even need dice. So if you do it on a phone or a tablet, yeah, you just flip over to your dice roller, roll those dice, remember what they are, flip back over to your dungeon drawer, draw what you've got, flip back to your PDF where it tells you the stuff. Yeah, you can play it all right there on a phone, tablet, or desktop, as I would, and then you don't need to do it the way I have shown. So you don't feel constrained. There are a million different ways you can do these things, and I want to do that on channel once to show playing it online, fully online on desktop without using anything else. So we'll see how that works out. Oh, itchy nose. Now let me see what else I have on my list here, because primarily it's a whole bunch of joyous, creative things and things that I've come to understand and such like that. But I quickly want to talk about this first. Oh, excuse me. Drank a soda before I started recording. I talked yesterday about the Halo Top Dystopian advertisement. A couple of years back I talked about this as well, but it's been a couple of years and I want to talk about it again because the advertisement still affects me this hard. When I say it's a dystopian advertisement, I mean it is disturbing. The Halo Top ice cream commercial opens up where it is a white sterile room and there is this old woman wearing white robes, and she basically wakes up in this chair in this white sterile area, and there's this robot that keeps coming up to her and just saying, here's some ice cream, and just keeps feeding her ice cream on a spoon. At first she tries it and she's good, but she has questions like, where's Steven? Where am I? What's happening? And the robot's just, humans need ice cream, and offering the ice cream and then just pushing it against her face so it's like hitting her in the lips, and she's like, no, and smacks it away, hits the ground. She is freaking out. You can tell she's, like I say, she's asked for where's Steven. She's wondering what the hell is going on, and there's this robot that after she smacked the spoon out of its hand, this little opening, this little door opens up on its body, and out of its there in a clamp comes an ice cream cone. Humans need ice cream. And she's just freaking out badly about this because it's a nightmare scenario. She's wondering what's happening. And then it cuts to a quick thing about the Halo Top ice cream and the various types of it. And then when they jump back to it, she is standing, well, not standing, still sitting in this chair. There was originally one robot that was offering her the ice cream. There are now about 6, 7 or so knocked over in various states of disarray, all going, eat the ice cream. Eat the ice cream, until the old woman is just going, ah! And then it cuts. Oh. Even years later, when I watch that, I cry because of what's happening. It is dystopian and nightmarish. And then the other advertisement, when they just play the song that's playing in the background, it sounds so happy and friendly. You know, it's like, hey, we could run away to the sea. It sounds like this old Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream kind of song. Really happy, cheerful, upbeat, bouncy. But the longer you hear about it, it's like, you know, there's only me and the machines because everybody else died in the Great War. And people like me, we don't need to eat, we don't need to sleep. We just need ice cream to be complete. And then the advertisement and song ends. It is dystopian and nightmarish to a huge degree. I love them. Even though I don't eat Halo Top ice cream. They have keto brands and such like that. It's kind of expensive. It's out of my price range, but I love those advertisements. Now, on the creative front, trying to get these projects together, more of the organic bubbling and stuff has come together. I've talked before about with the whole Uncle Bonbon stuff, they have the bone glazing sauce that comes in various flavors. Something has organically bubbled up that in the narrative, it explains it all. At first, there is just the one flavor because it's just the regular bone glazing sauce. They're using people that they're gathering from the local area. This here, but when I was doing all these things, when I'd had the Chicago tourist thing up there, I started thinking last night about, well, what about a tourist from Philadelphia? And then they discovered that, hey, you just you grind up this person in the patties because the Uncle Bonbon's third eye stands for humans not only has a small deli thing to make sandwiches for people, but they also open up later to have a small grill to make one burger at a time for people. And they use a tourist from Philadelphia. And they discover you don't need condiments when doing this, just a little bit of onion, a tiny bit of cheese, and my God, with that burger on a patty, it tastes exactly like a Philly cheesesteak. And people are amazed when they're eating this, which leads one of the Uncle Bonbons people to wonder, are there regional differences in flavors in people? And that starts in the beginning of the whole part, but the whole bonbon stuff starts to become noticeable about a third of the way through. So about 25%, so about a third of the way through is when the Philly cheesesteak tourist crops up. And that's why at about the 2/3 point through the narrative, Uncle Bonbons comes out with the Cajun flavor. Because, regional differences in human flavors and Midwestern corn-fed farmer flavor. And of course, this one's still just a backhanded slap at Canada for no good reason at all. But Canadian flavor is still artificially flavored maple syrup flavored. So that's Canadian flavor, the maple syrup flavor. Thumbs up for that. So yeah, that's how they discovered that there's regional differences in flavors of people. And so that's why they can offer all these different specialty things. Which I have said that Uncle Bonbons, they use about 80% volunteers, about 15% volunteers, and they try to use no more than about 5% of involunteers, people that by no way, shape, or means have volunteered in the slightest, but they're still getting broken down anyway. Volunteers are people that maybe they are, maybe they aren't, they're not really any condition that you can ask them, so just kind of look the other way, sign the paperwork, and then send them into processing to be broken down for snacks. And then there are the true volunteers that, like I spoke of yesterday, where you go in, sign the paperwork, they give you some pain away, and then break you down into snacks. Now, the consumer version of pain away is another one of those things that it gets introduced about halfway through, or a little bit more perhaps, because it's not an immediately brought out product. And this is why I've tried to make it as a slice of life 1 year thing, showing the changes that happen in these people's lives during this time. Now, coming back down here to check on the rest of what I've got. Oh yes, I had talked about a character that I'm kind of working on, where it's when your third eye opens, your vision clears, and you can see the world as it really is, which just means your extra universal cryptid genes express, and those extra universal sensory organs come online so you can see and interact with all this other stuff. When this happens, mind is a function of brain. Your brain changes. You don't change a lot, but there are things like the cultural bias against eating your own after about a month is gone. Especially since, if you remember, that with a human being whose third eye has opened should have been a cryptid, but their body, because of a genetic a genetic problem, I forgot the word, does not express. You stay human with normal matter instead of converting into a cryptid matter cryptid. So yeah, the cultural and just instinctive biases against eating your own, gone. But everything is genetic. The character I've talked about had this expressed in some fashion, that his cultural and instinctual bias against eating other humans is still there. He's the only one he knows of where it's this strong, but he has never found anybody else that has it, except about halfway through his story, I want to have it where that first I've mentioned this before, but if you haven't seen it, he first talks about how it's weird if he doesn't eat human flesh because everybody else does. All the cryptids that he's around do, which is only a small portion of the actual number of cryptids, and it's a small number of the dark cryptids that need to, and so he's just surrounded by the crowd that does. It's not that everyone does. And so he is trying to get used to it, and he does like it because to a human being with the third eye open, other human beings taste really good. Not delicious by any means, but really good. So he talking about this is kind of breaking down when he first talks about how he has to not think about how the meat in his sandwich at some point was a human being, and now they're just a deli and then he just has to pull it back together, and later on, of course, he's talking with a human friend, not of course, but talking with a human friend about understanding why cryptids like to eat so much human meat. He understands that they find us delicious, but while he doesn't find other humans to be delicious, he does find it to be really, really good. And so talking about with his friend, he's like, I understand why. I mean, in the last year alone, I mean, just by weight, I mean, I've eaten at least one entire human being. I'm sorry. Sometimes I make the mistake of actually listening to the words that come out of my mouth. My apologies. I eat a lot. But his friend just says something along the lines of, that's okay. I do that too. I broke down crying over a bag of human jerky last week. Everyone in the cryptid world is suffering from some form of PTSD. If you're a human with the vision, you're with your third eye open, and you see another human being get devoured alive, it becomes normal. But it's still, the very first few times you see it, is a very powerful traumatic shock. Every human being is suffering from continued PTSD. Cryptids themselves are suffering from this. Polly, the one cryptid I talk about a lot, who eats a lot of human beings, she was badly traumatized when her friend at 12 years old was devoured alive in front of her. Cryptids are all suffering from PTSD. Everybody is badly broken in the cryptid setting. And when I speak of people being eaten so much, metaphorically, I have talked about how the cryptid setting is not an overcoming challenges setting. It is an accepting inevitabilities setting. It's for me to deal with my fears. Being devoured in the cryptid setting is a metaphorical version of just my encroaching mortality. Being devoured is my visualization of death. These stories are my ways of dealing with the fact that I'm 60 and people just within 5 years of my age are dying of old age. At about 65, people start really dropping off. That's not far away. If you are born at 6 in the morning and you die at 6 at night, in my lifetime, it is 5 o'clock. These stories are my way of dealing with horrible things. Being devoured alive is an accepting inevitabilities in this setting because it is death. It is my encroaching mortality. It can't be escaped. I have to deal with it. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well. We have Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up, thank you, good to see you. And yeah, I think Dead of Winter, if you could get hold of it and you have friends that would play, that would be fun. There is Memnock, thumbs up and thank you. Floramu, greatly appreciated. And hopefully the things that I've talked about today will help flesh out the whole Halo top dystopian thing. Really, Google, eat the ice cream. Jay, good to see you, thumbs up, thank you. Celadaz, greatly appreciated, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. There is Ideca666, thumbs up and thank you. SEIJI Henry, thumbs up, thank you very much, with some very good ideas. And Animo Dev is also making comments and replying. And then there is 77 Arcturus, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And arthritis sucks. It blows. Chris, thumbs up, thank you very, very much, greatly appreciated. And RJ Mitchell, good to see you in the comments, thumbs up. And then there is FG, I scrolled past it and I've lost it. FGCORDEROC, thumbs up, thank you very much, greatly appreciated, each and every one of you. 11 people have left me comments in the past 24 hours to get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people, if only in text and if only for a short time. Thumbs up and thank you very much. I'm going to try and get some phone calls made. Hopefully I can. I love having executive dysfunction. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done, but if you can't, don't beat yourself up. That's not going to help. Survival mode is important as well. And of course, no matter where you are, if people are getting sick, please take precautions. Over on the conservative side in the United States, people are still dropping like flies from the covfefe bug. It is less dangerous, it is less lethal, but it is still deadly. So please take appropriate precautions for that reason alone. And of course, if people are getting hurt, try not to go where people are getting hurt. I mean, think about that one. And of course, if you're out walking and you hear the mournful howl of that bus horn, be it morning, day, or night, oh boy, it's gonna hit you, you're gonna die, and your corpse is gonna splash and get smeared over the landscape. It's gonna be vile. But until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.